My dad almost got arrested. Story time. So at the time, I was 8 years old, and little old me was playing with the neighbor's kid, which was my dad's friend's son. Did that make sense? Anyways, my parents were watching over the boy I was playing with because his dad was working or something like that. Well, me and this boy, we were playing outside, and the boy asked me, hey, do you want to go over to my house so we could go play some games? And of course I said, yeah, let's go play some games. So we walk over to his house, and of course when we get there, the door is locked because his dad is gone. But we were little and we weren't thinking. But of course, the story doesn't stop there. The boy said, I have a ball on my balcony. If you hop over, we can go play with the ball. So my dumbass said, okay, once I hop over, I'll throw the ball to you. So I hop over the fence and grab the ball and throw it to him. Then I hop back over and we go back to my house. Well, apparently, when I jumped over, someone saw and broke into this boy's house. Making part 2 right now, it gets crazier. My dad almost got arrested. Story time. So 8-year-old me hopped over my friend's fence to grab a ball. Someone saw me do this and broke into my friend's house. However, no one knew that my friend's house got broken into until his dad finally came home. Then he calls my dad and then everything just gets ugly. A little while later, the cops get there. They then question me and my friend. Then after they question me, I go home and I'm chilling with my family. A few minutes later, the cops show up back at my house, and they start handcuffing my dad. Then I freak out, my sister freaks out, and my mom freaks out. We're all just freaking out like, why are you cuffing my dad? Because he was literally home with my mom the whole time. And my uncle was there too. And the cops said, we have an eyewitness report, and you fit the description. The description was black male with long hair. The only part of the description my dad fit was being black. So they end up detaining my dad and throwing him in the back of a cop car. Stay tuned for part 3. It gets worse. My dad almost got arrested. Story time. Part 3. So the police handcuffed my dad and they threw him in the back of a cop car. And after we all got done freaking out, my mom ended up contacting our neighbor. And she let him know that the police were trying to accuse my father of breaking into his house. And y'all want to know what my neighbor had to say about that? He was like, if he didn't do it, then he won't be found guilty for it. I just want the right person to be held accountable, and I don't know if he did it or not. Excuse me? Excuse me? So basically, he told my mom that he thought my dad was capable of breaking into his house and thought that he probably did it. Meanwhile, we're shocked as fuck. Like, we've been family friends for years, and you really think he would do you like that? Then finally, the eyewitness shows up, and she ends up telling the cops that it wasn't my dad. But then the cops tried to accuse my uncle because he was at our house too. Tried to say he could fit the description. But the witness shut that down real quick too. Then our neighbor tried to apologize. My dad forgave him, but I said, don't be trying to double back. I already despise you. My friend's mom tried to stab me and my sister. Story time. Yes, honey, you heard that right. She tried to stab us with a knife. So at the time, me and my sister were 8 and 9 years old. And we went to the pool every single day. And we eventually made friends with this boy. We're gonna call him Tomato. Then our parents ended up making friends with Tomato's mom. Like, they ended up becoming really good friends. And after a couple months, Tomato eventually asked me and my sister to spend the night. Well, our parents surprisingly said yes. This is the one time, and the one time only, I wish my parents would have said no. Well, anyways, we went to the sleepover. By the way, it was our first sleepover we've ever been to. So we get there around 5, and we're having a blast. We made forts, we watched DT, we ate popcorn. For our first sleepover, it was going wonderful. However, the whole time we were at this sleepover, his mom was in her room. 11 p.m. comes around, and the mom comes out of her room, smelling like alcohol. She was drunk. And she comes out, and she starts screaming at us. She thought we were home invaders. Then she goes in the kitchen and grabs a knife. My friend's mom tried to stab me and my sister. Story time. So for those of you who saw part 1 and weren't able to see part 2 because you don't have me on Instagram, or you just don't have Instagram, I posted it on my YouTube channel at Kenzie Spicy. That's what the video looks like, so yeah. And now that we're all caught up, I can go back to posting my story times on here. And if TikTok ever decides to take down my videos again, I'm gonna post it on my YouTube or my Instagram for you guys. So make sure you're subscribed or you're following. Now let's get back to my regular content. Karen called the cops on me and my boyfriend. Story time. So me and my boyfriend were at the mall spending that cash money, you know what I'm saying? Then after I was done making myself more broke, we decided to leave the mall. So we left the mall and decided to take a back road. This road was 50 miles an hour, and Karen decided to go 30 in a 50 mile per hour zone. We were behind this lady for like 20 minutes, going 30 miles per hour, and we lived about an hour away. So my boyfriend starts tailgating Karen. That made Karen get angry. So she dropped down to 25 miles an hour. So we honked at her, as we should, because she should have pulled over so we could drive past her. But no, Karen didn't want to be nice, so she dropped down to 20 miles per hour. At this point, me and my boyfriend were just like, okay, whatever, we'll just let her drive slow. Then we finally get to the stop sign. Karen's taking a right and we're taking a left. And that's when Karen decided to cuss us out, which, I mean, I kind of don't blame her. But then she threw a donut and her coffee at us. And that's not even the worst part. This story gets even crazier. Karen called the cops on me and my boyfriend. Story time. So we were at the stop sign and she decided to cuss us out. So I rolled up my window. Good thing I did, because she threw a donut and her coffee at us. This bitch really wasted her food. A little old me. You mad, Zwiggy? So we dipped out that bitch, because who knew what else she was gonna do? We thought that was the end of it, but we were wrong. When we were about 10 minutes from my house, we started seeing some blue and red lights flash. Oh shit, we're getting pulled over. So my boyfriend hands the officer his license, registration, and proof of insurance. After the cop checks his info, he says, do you know why I pulled you over today? We say, no, have no idea, because we weren't speeding, we weren't doing anything wrong. Then he tells us, I'm pulling you over because I got a call on you guys for reckless driving. Let's not pretend we don't know who did that. We all know Karen did this. But this isn't even the craziest part. Karma is a bitch. Just wait for part 3. Y'all gonna be shook. Karen called the cops on me and my boyfriend. Story time. Part 3. So me and my boyfriend got pulled over because the cop said they got a call on us for reckless driving. Thanks, Karen. So after this crazy ass day, we finally get home. We're trying to unwind, chillax, enjoy ourselves. So we go out to the living room to talk to his parents. Keep in mind, his parents always have the news on. Like, there's never been a time I've been at his house without the news on. So I start watching it a little bit. Y'all won't believe what I saw. There was a car accident. This car flipped and went down a hill. So tragic. Coincidentally, the car looked exactly like Karen's car. The same bitch that threw her coffee and donuts at us, cussed us out, and called the cops on us. But I was like, nah, this can't be. But sure enough, it was her. Because her picture popped up on the news. And I was like, damn. I mean, I'm not saying she deserved it, but karma has a funny way of working. How's your leg, Karen? You was stupid. You was stupid. My neighbors saw me naked. Story time. So sometimes a bitch sleeps naked because I get hot as fuck and because I heard a lot of good things about it. But anyways, this particular night, a bitch was naked and I woke up out of my slumber thirsty as fuck. Like I was literally feeling like SpongeBob when he went to Sandy's. But a bitch didn't put on clothes like a normal person because it was like 3 o'clock in the morning and no one was up. So I thought it would be a good idea to get out of bed and get water naked. So I'm getting my water and minding my own business. And my boyfriend's mom decides to come out of the room. And she knew I was in the kitchen, but she didn't know I was naked. And she starts walking towards me. And I was like, oh, hell no. I wasn't about to have my boyfriend's mom see me naked. You got me fucked up. So I thought it would be a good idea to run outside the back door, which leads to our backyard. But because I did that, my boyfriend's mom obviously thought it was suspicious. So she opens the back door and calls my name. So I run through the side of the house to get to the front of the garage door. My thought process at the time, I was going to put in the garage code to get into the house through the garage. But that didn't happen. Part 2 gonna be funny.